Hey everyone, Doug here for 3+ Stuff, and I wanted to do a follow-up to a video that I made a while ago. It was called How to Master Your Army Quickly, or something like that. I'm not quite sure the exact title, but basically in that video I broke down that it's really hard to learn a new faction, especially for someone like me who I love trading armies and things like that. I don't take an immense amount of time to really master any one particular army, and so when I do go to events or I play games, I make rules mistakes, things like that, and that's just part of how I enjoy the hobby. But in that last video I talked about how you can go through your battle tome, break apart the different segments of the game and abilities, and organize them in a way that helps you remember them. Kind of make yourself a little, I think I used the term remember me list, and I had like the bender, burp, and fire and that kind of thing, and it was a good deal of fun. But I want to make a follow-up video because somebody very special has gone out of their way to make that happen for you with the least amount of work possible, and we're going to talk about AOS Reminders today. This is a huge bonus for anyone looking to get started in the game, and it seems very overwhelming. If you have new players, please send them to this website. It'll be linked down below, but it's very simple, AOS Reminders. So what I'm going to do is show off the website, how it work for you, and how it can basically help you improve your games by taking the mental burden of remembering each individual little tiny minute rule off of you so that you can spend more time engaging and coming up with things on the fly and enjoying the time that you have. So let's go ahead and head over to the AOS Reminders site. And here we are at the AOS Reminders site. Of course, the gentleman I was talking about who did so much for the community is Davis Ford up top there. And the site is very simple to use. The first thing you're going to do is pick your army. I picked Ironjaws for this example. And from this, you can pick the individual units within that army and add them here, and all of the rules will populate below. Simply because I put Ironjaws there, if we scroll down a bit, it actually breaks up all of the Ironjaws rules by phase, exactly what I was talking about before. Now, not just phase, but also start of the phase, end of the phase, everything like that. So it makes it incredibly easy to remember those rules, especially if they have weird timing things like at the start. It has to be at the start. If you skip by it when you're doing something else, you can't go backwards kind of deal. This is incredible for that. So this is all your allegiance abilities right here. I'm going to scroll up. And what you could do is go unit by unit, each individual trait and artifact, and you can load them all in manually, and of course you'll have the rules down below for them. But there is an even better way. Let me show you this stuff right quick. Okay, so import list. You see right here, drag your Azir Warscroll PDF. Okay, so let's do that here. Now I went ahead just for the sake of time and made this 2,000 point Ironjaws list. This is the one that I take to events normally, where I have the ethereal amulet on the Maw Crusher. Nothing like that. It's a lot of fun, but that's not what we're here for. We're not talking list building. We're talking list mastering. So let's call this our test list, and we'll save the PDF to our desktop. And let me just minimize this real quick. Now when we go back to the AOS Reminders page, I didn't even need to do that, never mind. We'll go to the desktop, open the Warscroll Builder, and it says Builder Profile Processed. So, now here's the thing, if we scroll upward, we see that all the individual entries for the units that we had, the command traits, the trait of the beast is weird and it's the actual Maw Crusher's mount trait, are the artifacts, both the Ethereal Amulet, which is a realm artifact, and the Great Green Visions, which is the Ironjaws specific one, spells, commands, everything. As we scroll down, we will see all those things have been broken up into their phase. Things to remember the entire game, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was minimizing, are things like the Ethereal Amulet, how the Iron Fist works, which is the battalion ability, and then as we go down, things like wound allocation, start of the hero phase, during the hero phase. It just reminds you of all the spells that you have. And so this is a lot of data. So basically what I would suggest is if you wanted to really master your army, right? Start with like a smaller sized army, say 1K, something like that. And then build a list, throw it in AOS Reminders. And then what I do when I take these two events is I actually with a pen just write numbers on the side here, and it kind of gives me an order of operations. So the first thing I'm gonna do, right, when my hero phase starts, it's reminding you, is roll to see if you get an extra command point. After that, I want to see if there's a spell in range, so I'm going to put a 1 here, and then 2 somewhere else. So you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of number it out so that you can make yourself, as much as possible, an autopilot checklist so that you can make sure you don't forget anything. And it does this for every single phase of the game. And the way it breaks it up is it says hero phase. It doesn't say your hero phase. So it does have reminders in there for things that might trigger on your opponent's turn, because there are some effects that trigger on either you or your opponent's turn. So that's important to remember. And all of those things will also be listed here. Now, one thing I want to stress here about this website is, actually there's a few things I want to touch on. It's not a list builder. There are no points here whatsoever. And I don't believe there's any stat lines for units. The spell effects are written out, but that's pretty much it. There are no points or anything like that. You can't determine if a list is legal with this. You can only create a set of reminders for yourself. And that's why I wanted to show off the Warscroll Builder over on GW, because these two completely free resources in tandem allow you to create with this a completely legal Age of Sigmar army, and then be able to master that army very, very quickly with your AOS reminders. And so I think the combination, right, the 1-2 punch of these websites are phenomenal, and more importantly, totally free to use. Games Workshop, obviously you can support them by buying their products and that kind of thing. AOS Reminders, there is a subscription service, and here's a really cool thing. It's like, honestly, it's a very, very inexpensive. Where is it at? For a year, it's $10. But what that gives you is a few things. So when you log in, you can save an army. You can create multiple Remember Me lists if you're doing multiple factions like I do. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can share it, export it in several different ways. There's a lot of cool things, but honestly, the real reason I do suggest getting a subscription is because it supports the creator, Davis Ford, who him and his team put an immense amount of work into this. So it's not a commercial. I'm not getting paid for them or like that. He gave me a subscription just to like show me the different things that it can do. But more than anything, this is just me trying to let everybody know that there's just more ways to play this game and learn it quickly, that things like this dramatically lower the barrier to entry. And in fact, even if you go to an event and they have Realmscape features, you can put the Realmscape feature for every list, and you can print out all of them. So you can have your checklist for how, for example, Eternal War, Shyish, that Realmscape feature will affect that game, and keep the Remember Me stuff built into that list. And then when you go to the next table, you can have your other list for that one. And so you can keep making different things and be as in detail as you want to be. If you need one list, if you need multiple, whatever helps you out. Now, I did reach out to Davis and ask him like what other things he wanted me to highlight. There are a few. One of the big ones, actually the main one I think, is that he wanted to really show off was that this does work offline. So once you load it, you should be able to, if the internet's out, go back into it and be able to use it completely detached from any kind of internet. So that is a great tool, especially because, at least locally in the greater Seattle area, there are just some random game shops that have terrible internet and Wi-Fi connectivity. So having it still available to you, even though you're disconnected, is really, really handy. And in addition to that, if you are a tournament organizer or a local group organizer, you can actually gift people subscriptions. And the reason I say that that's important is because, you know, it's free. You don't have to, but it is an inexpensive way to support an important part of the community, meaning Mr. Davis Ford here. You can also incentivize, hey, did someone come in absolute dead last place, but they had a really great positive outlook about that, and they had a good time, and they were being very friendly? This is a fantastic gift to offer someone. Hey, listen, go here, try to make a better list, and try to remember your rules, right? And help them, coach them to become a better player. And I think that improves the community overall. What I like about this is, when I took this to my last tournament, which was over in Bremerton, I actually brought a second one that was not my army. I actually went through here and I put together a bunch of Remember Me stuff for armies that I knew I was going to be facing, because I have to keep track of my own army. I certainly don't have, time to remember what everyone else's rules are. So stuff like how depravity points work, it's a great reminder just to have those things on the side if you're someone who doesn't get to play all of the time, or you're new and you want to be aware of what's out there on the tabletop. So anyway, friends, I just wanted to share that with you. The people who put such incredible amounts of work into that website, and they're constantly refining it and adding new stuff. Whenever a new battle tome comes out, it is on there, I think, in like 2 weeks or less or something like that. They had the Iron Jaws one up there very, very quickly when the War Clans dropped. And there's a lot of rewriting and the addition of bone splitters, all that stuff. It took a lot of work to make that happen. And that's the same goes for every single faction. So it is an incredible resource for you. Like I said, the 1-2 punch of the Warscroll Builder page on GW, where you can make the list from scratch and make sure it's legal. And then also the Remember Me AOS Reminders, being able to create a Remember Me list that allows you to just play that list to the best of your ability and have the most fun, because you're not worried about minutia. You're able to be in the moment more and enjoy your games, which I think honestly is the most important part. So in the links down below, there's going to be a link to the Warscroll Builder if you haven't seen that one, and also obviously the AOS Reminders. So go ahead over there, support the community, share it with people that you know that would be benefit from it. And anyone who's like struggling or getting frustrated at the game can really learn a lot from this and take away a lot of value from it. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you go check out these resources, because they're incredible and they're free for you to go enjoy. So go ahead and support those creators, and I'll see you next time. Happy wargaming.